Right now, many hikers' motivation is at an all-time low. Trips are postponed or cancelled, trails are closed, and training might be the very last thing on your mind, which is absolutely fair enough. But for the people out there who want to keep their training going, even if they're not feeling motivated, if they've got a trip coming up in 6 months, in 8 months, in 12 months, they know they want to keep on moving forward, but they're really, really struggling to keep themselves in the habit and keep themselves in the mindset of training. How can you keep yourself motivated to train? And that's what we're talking about today. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how you can use some particular type of goal setting to keep yourself motivated to train, to keep yourself moving forward in this time, and eventually get yourself successful over the long term. Now, traditionally, hikers are pretty good at setting goals. All they have to really say is, I want to hike this trail, or I want to reduce pain on this, or I want to be able to do this hike with no difficulty, or walk up this hill without getting huffed and puffed. That's all pretty easy for a hiker to do. And in the grand scheme of things, this puts them at a huge advantage over the common exerciser who generally just wants to get fit, to tone up, to lose weight. Now, these guys really, really struggle with motivation day to day because their goals and their motivations are just way too vague, but hikers generally don't have to deal with that. However, these days, when your hiking goals might be a long way away, whether it's 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 18 months, you might need to break things down a little bit and make the goals a little bit more shorter term to break down into manageable chunks so you can keep motivated in the short term and allow yourself to guide your own success. And what I mean by that is if you can sort of regularly give yourself smaller goals which you can tick off and feel good about and be successful with, that's sort of really, really effective for your long-term motivation. And it can keep consistency, it can keep momentum, and it's a really, really powerful thing you can do. So today, there are a million and one ways of going about this, but today I'm going to give you a really specific way of going about this goal setting process to get you through from now until whenever the end of this whole craziness in the world is going on. So to start with, we are going to forget about your super long-term goal for the moment. So whatever goal, whether it's the PCT, whether it's Everest Base Camp, Kilimanjaro, a particular hike, whatever, we're going to forget about that. We're not going to be talking about that because that's way, way, way in the distance. Instead, the long-term goal right now is we're going to set ourselves a particular thing we do when we get out of isolation or when the world goes back to normal. Basically, whenever we get that all clear from whatever government, whatever country you're living in, that we can get out on the trail without any hang-ups, without any issues, we can go traveling again, we're going to set ourselves a goal to do now. Now, I'm going to say for this, we're probably going to set it on not the first weekend when we're free, because that's probably going to be celebrations, there's probably going to be drinking, going out to dinner, yada yada. But let's just say it's going to be the second weekend. This obviously will change, but let's have a think. So you're going to set yourself a particular goal that you're going to do whatever day this happens. We might not know how long away it's going to be, but you're going to set yourself a goal. Now, this might be a particular day hike that you want to do or that you've always wanted to do around your, in your state. This might be a backpacking weekend. It might be simply, hey, I want to hike this particular trail, but I want to do it pain-free. This might be, hey, I'm going to go hiking with my niece and nephew, but I'm going to keep up with them and they're not going to run me into the ground. It can be anything, but you want to set yourself a particular little adventure which you're going to do when we get out of isolation. And then when you've done this, you're going to write this down. You're going to get a picture of whatever hike you're going to be doing or whatever you're going to be achieving, and you're going to put that up next to it. That's step number one. That's your long-term goal, and that's what you're going to be aiming for in the future. So that might be realistically 6 months from now. So what are you going to do until then? Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to break that down into a smaller segment. So let's say that's 6 months away, and we're going to break this down now, and we're going to set ourselves a 3-month goal. Now, this 3-month goal might not be hiking related because we might not be able to realistically get out on the trail, and let's not set ourselves a goal which, it might just not be achievable. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use those fitness assessments we were talking about the other day on the podcast. Now, if you haven't listened to that particular podcast, which was fitness assessments for hikers, then I highly recommend going back and listening to that in either right now or at the end of this episode. And we're going to use these assessments as a little 3-month goal that you're going to do. So you're going to set yourself in 3 months' time, I want to do 22 repetitions on the single leg rise assessment, or I'm going to be able to do the 1,000-foot step test in a certain number of minutes, or I'm going to be able to do a 3-minute plank, or all of those. And you're going to set yourself a few goals based off those fitness assessments we talked about the other day. Now, to get a judge of what targets you want to be aiming for, you probably want to go through those initially and just go and get yourself a benchmark of where you're at, and then you just set yourself some particular targets based on those. So once we set up this longer, like medium goal, which is maybe 2 or 3 months away, then we want to break this down into a goal that I'm going to achieve every 4 weeks or each month. And so this is we're going to do this, reset these goals every month. So we're just going to be talking about the next 4 weeks ahead. So in 4 weeks' time, what do you want to have achieved? And again, it's probably easiest to base yourself off these fitness assessments. So you might say, hey, I did a 60-second plank before, I want to do a 2-minute plank. Or it took me 15 minutes to do the step assessment, I want to do it in 12 minutes, or something like that. And you want to sort of break that down a little bit more. And then once you've broken it down into a 4-week goal, which you're going to aim yourself for, then you're going to break it down into weekly goals. So this is going to be things you're going to try to achieve every single week. So it might be, I want to train 3 times a week. I want to do eat veggies with every single meal for a week, or I want to stay hydrated, or I want to do my 10,000 steps, or whatever it is. So these are all little habit building goals, which we talked about again in another previous episode. If you haven't listened to the habit building episode, go back and listen to it now. But you're going to set yourself things you're going to tick off every single week, and then you're going to aim to do this over each week, over each week, over each week, and then every 4 weeks you're going to do that fitness assessment, suss yourself out, and it's all going to build off each other. And then what we're going to be doing is you'll set yourself a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a 3-month goal, a 6-month goal. And then slowly, bit by bit by bit, you can tick these off again and again and again and again. You can build off that success, you can build that training momentum, and sort of just keep yourself moving forward, as opposed to just wallowing around and thinking your 18-month away hike or 12-month away hike is just too far away from you. Now, what you're going to do with all these, the most important thing is to write them all down. So you cannot do this and then just think in your head and think that's going to motivate you. It's just not going to happen. You've got to write it down, and you're going to put it somewhere that you're going to see all the time. So this is either on the fridge, on the bathroom mirror, on the back of the toilet door, on your desktop, whatever. It needs to be somewhere that you're going to see all the time. Even better is if you tell people around you, so tell your partner, tell your parents, tell your friends, these are the things I'm going to be doing. Keep me accountable, because in 4 weeks I'm going to test this goal and I'm going to hit it. Or in 3 months I'm going to do this, I'm going to hit it. And that way, if you tell people, they can keep you a little bit more accountable to the process. Then from there, you're going to track them. You're going to keep track of what I'm doing week to week, what I'm doing month to month, what I'm doing, in every 3 months. And you have to make sure, are you hitting them? Are you not? And you're going to be really, really, really realistic. Are you actually doing them? And then finally, and one of the most important things here, is you want to celebrate your success. So every single time you hit a goal, you want to give yourself some type of reward. Usually I recommend setting yourself some particular rewards prior to all of this. So for example, if you do all your weekly goals, I'm going to celebrate myself with a delicious meal. If I hit my monthly goals, I'm going to celebrate myself by buying a really nice dress or something. If I hit my 3-month goal, I'm going to celebrate by booking myself a really nice holiday. If I do my 6-month goal, I'm going to celebrate by doing something absolutely major and going on a spa weekend or doing something crazy. And having these all lined up next to your goals can also be pretty motivational. But the most importantly is actually do go out of your way to celebrate each of these, because it is success. Small success, medium success, big success, it all builds into each other. So I highly recommend you go through this process and break it down, going from your super long away hike to your 6-month goal when you get out of isolation, to your 3-month goal, what do you want to achieve, to your 4-month goal, to your weekly goals. And if you take the time to go through that process, I really do guarantee it's going to do amazing things for your motivation. It's going to do amazing things for your training consistency, and it's going to do amazing things for your long-term success. So if anyone needs a bit of a hand with this and they need a little bit of extra information around setting realistic goals or adjusting things to fit their lifestyle, as always, feel free to reach out to me at rowan@summitstrength.com.au. Shoot me an email. I'm always happy to help. But really, I highly encourage you to go through this process, because I've seen time and time again with my clients just how effective it can be. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast today, guys. I hope you have gotten a bit of value out of it and you've gotten some good insight into how you can help your motivation in this time. If you have enjoyed it, as always, I'd really appreciate it if you can leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It would really mean the world to me if you took the few minutes to go about that. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.